decorator state, the once famous Don Manor. You to look for some wildlife throughout today's tour. And as I just did, if I'm able to stop or slow down, I will say an opportunity to take a picture or two. If by chance my eyes are close up and you guys spot something that I don't, give me a shout, and once again, I'll do my best to slow down or stop. Dell's home to 27 different types of the fern species. However, it's still early spring and Mother Nature hasn't given us that many warm days so far. Most ferns have not had that opportunity to start popping out of the ground. Come visit us in a warmer month. You'll see all kinds of ferns in this valley down here. Look straight ahead, move your eyes a little bit over to your right, maybe at 1 o'clock, not far over to your right. There's a vertical crack in that sandstone at about eye level, and that vertical crack is an iron rod sticking out of this relatively small, short iron rod with a circle at the bottom. Anybody see that? Everybody see? Nobody see it? So again, straight ahead, move your eyes to the right, you'll see a vertical crack. And about eye level, you see that iron rod sticking out? So it's going to take me to the right of it right away here, but I'm going to point at it right here on my left side. You look directly to my left right here, that vertical crack, that iron rod right there. Look at all the canopy level. You see that one? Yep, last one remaining, hundreds and hundreds of years old. And as we are a boat floating down the Wisconsin River, I have disengaged our fence in the Mississippi River and Prairie to Shade. Throughout that voyage, we will travel through 27 hydroelectric dams, making it one of the hardest working rivers in the United States. And our first rock formation, that preacher was not all that exciting to listen to. Those Native Americans would frequently fall asleep, float away down the river. They went by, and it didn't make that preacher all that happy. So he went into town one night looking for a musical instrument to spice up a sermon. All he could find was a baby grand piano. He bought that baby grand, hooked it up on top of Poker Rock. Well, that night a storm rolled in, lightning struck it, splitting it in half, left-hand side falling to the ground, as well as knocking down that baby grand where it rests on the right side of Poker Rock. One light propped up against Poker Rock and the keys facing the heavens right there on our left. To your left, till you reach that point upriver, right on the edge, 50 feet up in the air, you have Hawks Peak. Pay attention to that top rock and that second curve rock, those two rocks forming that Hawks Peak. In between is a third stone, that would be the Hawks Tongue. Stretch your imagination a little bit more. At the very tippy top, there's a slit in that rock. That would be the Hawk's Eye. And slab facing us right now, the Hawk's Wing, as she is soaring across the Wisconsin River. I consider this our most famous rock formation on today's tour, as it made the cover of Life magazine in 1962. And the Ho-Chunk Indians would use this as a signal point in their travels through this area back in the day. Anybody want to take a guess on how deep the river is? Right here underneath us.
No.
Oh, just throw out a number. Humor maybe. Treats will crumble that fairly easily. The other reason is that it is very porous. So it's able to retain moisture in this rock, allowing all quick dwellers. purpose of the dam was to block the rushing waters of Dell Creek running through the lake, as well as right here to your left, and forming artificial Lake Dalton up on top and just beyond that dam. So you folks with those cameras back there, great time to take all those damn pictures. You turn around, talk to everyone, see how fast they want to go make that splash into Lake Dalton. Fast means awfully wet. Wind blowing in means totally soaked. All the way down there at the end. Excuse me. Right before that bend, this little bump out is Echo Point. Echo Point is where we actually jumped into the river to start that portion of this trip here today. It's also called Westwood Point as we're sitting on top of a crazy, steep, dangerous, curvy hill with a 50-foot drop-off straight ahead and then to your right. So what that means, my friends, it could be your last look ever. And we are about ready to head up Redbird Gorge right here on my left. Nearest point, 8 feet 6 inches. If you guys recall, I told you that Kwajalein is 8 feet 2 inches wide. Anybody good at numbers back there? I am not, which is why I'm driving a duck. We got enough room to squeeze on through? Yeah? Alright. A little bit of confidence, not a whole lot. I will ask everybody to help me out. Take a deep breath, suck it in, hold it as we slither our way through Redbird Gorge. The rails above us. Foundation of a bridge. That bridge dating back to that stagecoach era as well. And don't forget to exhale. This gorge is one of his favorite hiding spots, dodging our U.S. government throughout some battles over land rights in multiple Midwestern states until ultimately Chief Blackhawk was captured right here in Wisconsin Dells.
Named after the stick and mortar chimneys of the early settlers in our area. In my opinion, it looks like a big old stack of pancakes. This was created by wind, water, and frost erosion into the very soft and fragile stone. So if you come back in another 10,000 years, we might have a few more to show you. About 10 feet taller, called Romance Cliff. And together, these two make up the jaws, or the gateway to the upper dells. Between these two cliffs is the deepest point in the entire river. We have 110 feet of water below us. Most of what we travel on today will be between 40 and 60 feet deep. But once you leave the dells, it's a pretty wide and shallow river with lots of sandbars, averaging only around 10 to 15 feet deep. Lumber, there you go. Our white pines specifically would be cut down, tossed into the river, where it could float down to the sawmills. From there, it would be cut up into lumber, assembled into rafts, and men would ride those the rest of the way down the Wisconsin River, using this as a natural highway to deliver and sell their lumber along. Sometimes those men would make Apple Gorge. On the rocks called lichen. We're always happy to see that, as it's a sign of great air quality. Coming up ahead of the boat on the left, we're going to pass by two rocks. They're pretty similar in size, shape, and color. So we call these our twin sisters. And we do like to name our rocks, so we call the first one here Kate, and the second one Duplicate. Thank you. All week, actually. And you can see a lot of folds Okay, to our left is Steamboat Rock, the only all-rock island here in the Upper Dells, named from above by a hot air balloonist who said it looked like a steamboat down here in the water. And as we pass by Steamboat Rock, you'll notice the calm waters, cool temperatures, beautiful canopy of trees. It's pretty romantic. So we call this Lover's Lane. If you came here with that special someone, or maybe you sat down by a pretty cute stranger, now's a good time to scooch a little closer. So the water was rushing a lot faster. Up to 35-mile-an-hour currents, whitewater rapids, and whirlpools filled this area. So they had a pretty hard time navigating this bend in the river. That's how it got its name, the Devil's Elbow. It also started up a new profession in our area called standing river pilots. Those men, for a fee, would hop aboard the lumber rafts and help the men to safely navigate this bend in the river. The most famous of those men was a man named Leroy Gates, and he left us with his business card. It's coming up on the left-hand side of the boat, on the flat slab rock that's facing us, about 12 feet above the water. You'll see some letters carved right into that rock that reads Leroy Gates, Dells and River Pilot from 1849 to 58.
Yeah, he did the lower Dell trip, so he's doing that. Sure. Here, why don't you walk over here? Okay. Scooch around, yeah. Scooch around. If they want to go faster. Yeah, go ahead.
Steal anybody else. But it will be the easier and the shorter of the two walks we'll be stopping at today. It's a flat wooden boardwalk, and we're taking the same trail into the gulch that we're taking back out. So you're more than welcome to turn around at any point if you're really feeling up to a portion of the walk. Keep your eyes peeled for the
see what they are?
Yeah, it was real cool too. Wait, what's mom?
With me in there?
I'm like, you get a picture too.
Oh. Big ol'. My phone's almost dead, dude. Okay.
That one you'd probably be able to do it just fine. This one might have a little trouble. It's a little scary.
We don't let people jump anymore, just the dog. People jump.
The photographer I was telling you about, with this image he took back in the 1800s. It was a pretty unusual image for its time. Back then you had to sit still for a few minutes in order to take a photograph. Anything that was moving would appear blurry or not really show up at all. Besides being a photographer, H.H. Bennett was also an inventor. He came up with many new inventions to help advance photography. And he created what he called a snapper. It was one of the very first stop action shutters, and it allowed him to finally capture things in motion. He used that to document the lives of the lumber ramsmen out here, but a lot of people did not believe the early images. They accused him of staging them all. So he came out to this point to take a photograph that couldn't be faked in any way. He set up his tripod behind you folks and set his 14-year-old son, Ashley Bennett, on top of the cliffs, had him jump over to Stand Rock so he could take this picture of his son in midair. As you'll see in a moment, it's a pretty tough photograph to get. The timing has to be just right. So he did not give us perfect image on his first attempt, or the second, or the third. It took 17 jumps back and forth before he got this one. So he did go on to enter it into a photo contest out in New York where he won first place.
Wow. Very quick. Yeah, I got it on video. I got it on video too. Think about doing video. Yay!